What's up, everyone? Welcome to Among the Fence, my YouTube channel where I do music reviews. My name is Aaron, and today we're going to check out the new album Terrasite by the band Cattle Decapitation. Terrasite is Cattle Decap's 8th studio album since they formed in 1996. They've been around for about 27 years now, and I reviewed their last album, Death Atlas, which came out in 2019, and I gotta admit, I didn't really love it, but I also have to admit to myself and to you guys that I'm not really a fan of this band. I find most of their music and most of their lyrics to just be the same thing over and over and over again. The only album that I really enjoyed was 2012's Monolith of Humanity. I don't know. Every time I listen to that album, it just, even today, it just sounds like it has something new to offer me every time I go into it. It was musically different enough to stand out from all the other albums at the time. And the singles for Terrasite have been kind of making me feel the same sort of way. I've been getting kind of excited the more I listen to them. When I first heard that Cattle Decap was coming out with a new album and they were going to drop singles, I rolled my eyes because I wasn't really looking forward to it since, I'm probably going to be doing a review on it. But the more I listened to them, the more it piqued my interest, and I went from rolling my eyes to smiling when I listened to it. So let's dive into this thing and see what the rest of the album has to offer. The album opens up with the song Terrasite Adaptation, which is all about the destruction that humans have caused on this earth, and even refers to us as being like parasites or cockroaches. It has a slow build into the verse that has blast beats and vocals that are classic Cattle Decap. Verse 2 has fantastic rhythm to it, and I used to really dislike the clean vocals, or the kind of, I don't know, the higher distorted vocals. I wasn't a huge fan of them. They just sounded really stupid. But they're the signature Cattle Decapitation, and honestly, they've grown on me a lot, and they sound really good, specifically in the chorus. Then we have We Eat Our Young, which was one of the singles released. Again, it's about how vile humans are, but the riffs in this are super heavy. Mixed with the drums, it sounds absolutely brilliant, and the guitar kind of, it gives like this haunting sort of thing going on in the background. It took me a couple times to really hear it and for it to really seek in, but it gives the song a lot of depth to it. The vocals are very powerful, and I love the growl that goes into the bridge. And then we have Scourge of the Offspring, which is one of my favorite songs on this album. Has an old school kind of vibe to it thanks to the drums and the dynamic riff. It kind of calms down a little bit though as it goes into the verse, so kind of has this up and down sort of thing where at first I wasn't sure if I was going to love it, and then it goes into the verse, and yeah, it's kind of throwing me through a loop. But the guitar becomes a little bit more creative, does a little bit more stuff rather than just kind of picking away. The chorus sounds absolutely fantastic thanks to the vocal melodies and the hook. Again, I wasn't a huge fan of the vocals, but for some reason they've just been doing a lot more for me lately. And the outro in this song is super groovy as well. Wasn't expecting that one at all. The Insignificance brings the technicality that this band has up to the surface, but it just goes back to mostly doing chugs in the verse. The pre-chorus is heavy with low vocals, and the riff continues into the chorus, and I enjoyed that touch quite a bit. The bridge is a little doomy thanks to, the music, but also the kind of spoken word vocals that have a little bit of a reverb on them. Reminds me of something that Ghost would do. I know that's a huge turnoff for some people, but for me, I quite enjoyed it. It was a nice, they did a good job on that. Then we have The Storm Upstairs, which feels, at this point in the album, a lot like all the other songs at this point, right down to the haunting guitar that's in the background. It still sounds really good, especially when the bass guitar comes in with the blast beats. I like that the bass guitar does have its moments throughout this album, and this is one of them. And the guitar adds a lot more color to the chorus thanks to the big dissonant chords, which again is another nice thing that they throw in every once in a while. The World Will Go On Without You has a really powerful verse thanks to the lead guitar part. The growl over the music as it goes into the pre-chorus is just absolutely sick. And the chorus sounds really good, but again, it sounds like something we heard before. It sounds like a lesser version of Scourge of the Offspring. Still good, but I like Scourge of the Offspring quite a bit more. And then we have another one of my favorite songs, the Photic Doom. This one does basically everything that I wanted them to do. I like that the guitar harmonies last through the verse. They don't cut it out and just have chugs in the verse. The snarl vocals break up the lower distorted vocals, I guess you could say, earlier in the song. So it's not like something you can just see coming like a mile away, like most of the other songs that they do. The riff is really great afterwards too. Another thing I didn't really expect to happen. The instrumentation between all of the sections are really groovy. Reminds me of like Lamb of God a little bit. I love that it also drops out and completely changes. I mean, the entire song, it becomes a little bit more death metal, becomes a little bit darker, a little bit heavier, grittier in a sense, and it's almost like you get two songs in one, and the outro feels like it's straight out of a horror movie. I love everything about this song. I like Scourge the Offspring, but I think I might like this one just a little bit more. Dead End Resonance has like a glimmering sounding guitar in the intro with really tough macho sounding vocals in the verse, and the intro music comes back around again in the pre-chorus. It sounds fantastic, and I like that the lyrics and the music match, which is going to sound kind of weird because normally they do, but the music just has this like something bad. It's like impending doom, like something is coming and it's not good, and the lyrics match that really well. The bridge really gets your head bobbing, but it's interrupted by blast beats, which is not really a bad thing, and it comes around full circle again as it goes into the chorus. This song does feel a little long, and then we have Solastalgia, I believe that's how it's pronounced. This probably has the best sounding riff. It's hard to tell, but this is a good one. It's up there. And the verse, the riff is fantastic, and the lead guitar definitely has its standout moments. It does a little bit more than just kind of drone and hang out in the background. The chorus is really aggressive as it becomes more intense. It's going into the post-chorus, thanks to the rhythm. The bridge really threw me off due to the spoken word. This is another song that kind of, you don't really know which direction it's going to go in. I enjoyed that aspect of it a lot. And you don't really get the epic snarling vocals until you get to the outro, which again is, it's kind of what you expect, but it was just a nice touch. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's nice when they don't, after you've heard the distorted vocals for quite a bit, or the lower ones, you're expecting the snarling. So when it just goes straight back into it, it's like, yes, just keep the aggression going. And that brings us to the closing track, Just Another Body, which is the longest song on this album, coming in over 10 minutes. It starts out with a piano and is joined in with some strings and a really powerful guitar riff. And after about 2 minutes into this 10-minute long song, everything changes and it goes back to being normal. Things do get a bit interesting though around the 4-minute mark, thanks to the riff and the drum work. It kind of keeps you on your toes. The chorus comes in and it's got big guitar chords. It sounds good, but it just it feels like it was just going on a little too long. The little clean vocals come in where it's just almost like spoken word in a sense in the bridge, and it sounds absolutely amazing, especially when the snarling vocals come in with it and there's that little duet going on. Not what I was expecting to happen, and it sounds fantastic. I really enjoyed the song, but it's 10 minutes long, and you really feel that. And there've been a lot of albums recently that have songs on them that are over the 7-minute mark, to say the least. And this is one of the more tiring of them. This is one of the songs, I mean, every time I got to this song before doing this review, it was just like, here we go, man. You got to strap in for this journey. But it wasn't a journey full of excitement. It's more like a journey of just it's just going. It's just going to keep going. And it's a good closing track in this sense, but at the same time, by the time it's over, you're just like, oh, thank God. So normally when I get to this part of my album review, I talk about things that I did like about the album and things that I didn't. But this time I'm going to swap them and talk about what I didn't like first. I feel like they're still just, they sound exactly the same. All these songs are pretty much exactly the same. Once you get to the 5th song on the album, The Storm Uprising, you've basically heard everything that this album has to offer. And that's not to say that the back half it doesn't have some bangers on it, because it does. I'm not going to lie to you there. But there's not going to be anything surprising. And even if there is something weird, like in the last song, there's a piano, it doesn't actually do anything in the song. It's more of like an interlude kind of thing, which you can basically take it or leave it. It doesn't play throughout the actual song, which it bummed me out a little bit. I wish they would have. And they're also singing about the same stuff that they've been singing about since day one, which I get it. They're very passionate about not eating meat. Humans are horrible. We should all die, and life is pointless. I get that. I understand it. But can you say it a different way, maybe? As you go through all of Cattle Decapitation's discography and read their lyrics, you will find basically songs that are saying the exact same thing multiple times on every single album, and it just becomes, I mean, it could be kind of cool, I guess. You can link it all together, but at the same time, it becomes rather dull. Now, moving on to what I didn't like, I love the production. I love the bassiness that this album has. Is very full sounding, and I love the use of the vocals. Normally I don't really care for them, but they weren't as predictable this time around. And also I did enjoy that they tried new things. I enjoyed the piano, even though it didn't do a whole lot. I mean, if you took it out, it wouldn't change this album whatsoever, but you know, they're trying new stuff, and it does feel fresh within Cattle Decapitation's discography. And I just love the overall aggressiveness of this album. It's so aggressive. The riffs are heavy, they're really groovy. It's not your typical thing that you're used to hearing from this band, especially after the last album. I gotta say, I actually enjoyed this album. I liked it a lot more than I was expecting, especially before I heard the singles. Hearing the singles, I was like, okay, either the singles are just going to be good and the rest of the album is going to be trash. But they managed to pull it off for me, especially. Take this all as someone who doesn't even like this band, okay? I enjoyed this album. So with all that said, I gotta give Terrasite by Cattle Decapitation a 7.1 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. I have a feeling that most Cattle Decap fans are going to love this thing. So leave a comment below letting me know what you thought. Let me know what you would rate it and what your favorite song is. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like. And if you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. Doing any of that stuff helps me out tremendously. And if you want to continue seeing my videos and you're subscribed and ring the bell icon, make sure to give this video a like. Otherwise, YouTube's going to think that even though you've done that, if you don't like it or interact with it, you don't really care to see it. So yeah, if you give it a like, you want to continue seeing me, that's the best way to do it. And again, it helps me out so much with YouTube's algorithm. And I just thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.
I was trying